Now, I don't know about you, but I hear two-tone watches get a lot of hate. Oh, they're for old people. It looks like my grandmother's watch. You just wear two-tone because you can't afford a solid gold watch. Two-tone watches capture a look and feel that neither stainless steel nor solid gold watches can. They're sporty, but with a splash of elegance. They're luxurious, but with a totally wearable quality. Two-tone watches are truly the perfect mix of robust opulence. And yeah, they're old school, but why does that have to be a bad thing? It's 2:33 p.m. Let's get down to business. So when most people think of a two-tone watch, they're often picturing a Rolex in their head, more specifically a Datejust. And while I don't currently own a two-tone Rolex Datejust, I do have a two-tone Rolex Date. Beautiful, just got back from service. Black dial, of course, stainless steel and yellow gold here in the middle. Has a beautiful Jubilee bracelet, and man, this thing is sharp. And yes, I did mention servicing, so inevitably a million people are going to write to me, who do you take your watches to? Well, I only take my watches to TikTok Watch Repair, and you can find them at TikTokWatchRepairs.com. They do everything from Rolexes like this, all the way to Timex, Seiko, and everything in between. So yeah, check out TikTokWatchRepairs.com and tell them I sent you, because again, I send my watches to them. But yeah, I'm very excited to have this thing back here, and I'm gonna make some more episodes with it. It passed the water test, so it's ready to be worn daily. But let's talk about the two-tone. But yeah, I get it. Rolex Dates, Rolex Datejusts, they're kind of in the same family, but let's look a little bit past that series, because Rolex has actually been doing two-tone for a very long time, and it's not just to these babies. So first up, I wanna talk about a very, very vintage Rolex Prince. Now this is specifically a Rolex Prince from the 1930s, and it's a doctor's watch with two dials. So at the time of filming, it's 2019, and Rolex still refers to their two-tone variants as Rolazor. It's kind of a play on words. It's a mix of the word Rolex and or, which is the French word for gold. And so yeah, Rolazor has some Rolex steel and some gold. Now, I'm not totally sure if back in the 1930s they used this word, but this Rolex Prince is technically a Rolazor. You can see the middle of the case is yellow gold, and on the side it looks to be steel. And the contrast doesn't stop there. You can see on the dials they kind of have a gold tone to them, and then the rest of the dial is a nice clean white. Looks a bit ivory nowadays though. But again, the watch is from the 1930s, and all things considered, it looks to be in very, very good condition. I'd love to find one of these and add it to my personal collection. So okay, that Rolex Prince doctor's watch from the 1930s, very, very old. Let's move on to the 1940s, and let's take a look at my personal Rolex 2940 Bubbleback. Now this watch is actually a Rolazor. The crown is yellow gold, and the bezel is actually yellow gold, except, you know, it has such a nice patina, to put it nicely. Yeah, it's aged a bit, so it's kind of hard to see. If we cleaned that up a bit, it would probably shine quite nicely, and the stainless steel would glisten in the sun, and that yellow gold bezel again would be very nice and bright. But so far I've left it as is. All things considered, I still think it's a beautiful watch, although a lot of you guys think it's hideous. That's fine, it's my watch. Okay, so the 1930s, 1940s, we've checked those off the list. Let's move a little bit into a more modern era, okay? Because we're gonna be talking about the root beer. Now, we're gonna be talking about the root beer new and old. So, okay, I've mentioned the root beer in a few episodes lately. I've also stated that I'm not really interested in too many modern Rolexes for a multitude of reasons. Basically, the case shape, it's just too chunky, the lugs are very blocky, and they don't wear like 40mm watches should. So let's start by looking at the vintage 16753 Clint Eastwood root beer. All right, 16753 Clint Eastwood GMT Master. Now again, Rolex doesn't refer to it as the Clint Eastwood Rolex, but all of us do. Just like, you know, Batman, Smurf, all these, Hulk. I wish a Rolex was named after me. What would it be? Probably the really ugly Bubbleback I own. But okay, the Clint Eastwood Rolex, 40mm, slim, sharp lugs. It wears like a traditional Rolex Oyster case should. GMT complication, threaded crown, at least a 100-meter water resistance rating, magnifier, date complication, and again, it has that really nice Rolazor, right? Yellow gold in the center. You often find them on Jubilee bracelets, although you can find them on Oyster bracelets. I prefer the Jubilee, I think. And there's some really nice contrast on the dial and on the bezel, and all in all, I think it's a really beautiful watch. watch. A lot of people do not like this reference number, the 16753. I think it's gorgeous. But moving on from that kind of more classic GMT Master root beer, let's move on to the GMT Master 2, the most current iteration of the root beer in the two-tone Ever-Rose stainless steel. So this one's kind of departing from the classic yellow gold look, and we're moving on to kind of the flavor of the week, which is rose gold, or what Rolex refers to as Ever-Rose. Now I say flavor of the week, I'm not trying to, disparage anyone or make fun of anyone that likes rose gold. It just seems to be that that's very on trend. And heck, I've said it on this channel before, this is one modern Rolex I would absolutely wear. I think it's gorgeous, and they did not sell well. So hopefully, in the near future, that'll be the one to get. And speaking of current Rolexes, another one to potentially add to my wrist. I meant list, but that's funny because I would like to add it to my wrist. That was a funny Freudian slip. We'll add that to the episode. But yeah, speaking of modern Rolexes that I would love to add to my list and my wrist, the current iteration of the Sea Dweller Rolazor, reference number 126603. Some very nice detailing on this watch. A beautiful yellow gold with that stainless steel. My favorite part about this watch is even the serrations along the bezel have that beautiful yellow gold. Just a nice little pizzazz, little detail, little splash of opulence. Gorgeous watch. And would I like to see it with slimmer lugs? Yes. Would I wear this watch? Absolutely. Moving on, let's talk about the very prolific Submariner Bluesy. Gorgeous watch. I prefer, obviously, the more vintage variants. I guess technically not vintage because they're in the 90s. They're not vintage just yet. But the 90s iterations with the slim lugs, gorgeous. The modern ones, yeah, they look nice in photos, but again, I think they wear a bit too big on the wrist. I would prefer the older case design, but what do I know? I'm just an idiot yelling into a camera. But all jokes aside, I do own a Submariner 16800 40mm, of course, slim lugs from the 80s. It's gorgeous, very vintage. Would I give up my Submariner for a Submariner Bluesy? Probably not, but if I were to buy another Submariner, it would be a Bluesy. And for some reason, I don't know why, when I see pictures of these Rolex Bluesies, it's like a CEO watch. It just makes me think of like a powerful businessman. And yeah, the two-tone, it's sporty, but elegant. It's luxurious, but tough. I don't know why. I think it's just a very powerful, very captivating watch. Yeah. If I ever get a second Submariner, I think that's gonna be the one. So there you have it, guys. I happen to love two-tone watches like my little Rolex date here. You know what? I'm gonna take off my date 1500 in full stainless steel and put on this other two-tone, this Rolazor. And yeah, guys, I love the look of it. Again, sporty, elegant, totally wearable, not so flashy that it's kind of too much to wear daily. I think they're gorgeous. I know you either love or you hate them, but leave me that comment in the comment section, guys. What do you think of Rolex Rolazor? What do you think of other two-tone watches? Leave me a comment. Which one would be your favorite, Rolex or non-Rolex? And do you have any two-tone watches? Come on, let's talk about it. And don't you worry, guys, I'm gonna make some more episodes showing off this watch, because again, I gotta give you little tastes of my collection, little sprinkles here and there. And guys, real quick before we end the episode, I just want to thank you. We are just under 80,000 subscribers. Things have really taken off here, and I would have never ever imagined that this channel would get here. Okay, when I first started my first ever episode, just kind of randomly talking about my Rolex Bubbleback, I didn't really expect anyone to listen, and it's crazy that all of you guys showed up. So yeah, all this content is for you guys. You have made my life just incredible. This channel is increasingly just becoming so important to me, and you guys are very important to me. So thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for watching the content. Almost 80,000 subscribers. Just wild. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I know I'm speaking for my editors as well. You guys are awesome. We thank you so much. Everything we're trying here, the shop, all the content, the live streams, we couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much, guys. I love you. And if you happen to be one of these new subscribers, thank you so much for stopping by. There's a ton of content, over 400 episodes that you can watch, and a multitude of playlists. And if you're here for your first time and you haven't subscribed yet, the easiest way to support the channel is to click that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you don't miss out on any of the content we do here. You can shop at our Amazon store, link in the description below. You help us out a ton when you do that. Or you can check out my personal website, www.thetimetellershop.com. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with everyone you can. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it. Real quick, if you enjoyed this episode, then do not worry, the fun doesn't need to stop here. Check out these recommended episodes that are going to be popping up on the screen anytime now. Also, take a moment, check out my brand new channel, the Time Away channel. It's where I talk about everything outside of the watch world, some of my other collections, some of my other hobbies. And if you're not interested in any of that, don't worry, just stay right here and I will see you right here. Because I never leave. I am trapped inside of this camera. Love you guys.